Roy Casey, Certified Health Nut here in Santa Monica, California, and today we're going to talk about a very important topic, nutrition. Nutrition is a very important topic because people seem to be very confused on what actual real food and what nutrition actually is. A lot of that has to do with the commercialization of food and the things that have been brought onto the market and people are now ingesting as food. And so I'm going to show you some of the problems that we're dealing with and of course the solutions. And I'm going to simplify it as much as possible. The thing is that mankind has complicated it to a very high degree. And so to simplify it, there'll be plenty of explanation. So if you were to take my advice and you just want a quick digital snack, listen to the beginning of it and I'll cover, the direction that's required to go in if you want a healthy body, if you want a svelte body, if you want to look like an animal in the wild ultimately. We all know what a domesticated animal looks like in a zoo, and we've been domesticated to a certain level, driving in cars, sitting in cubicles, on computers, more of a sedentary lifestyle instead of the wild lifestyle that we lived during millions of years of ecological development that our biology has been involved in. So, without further ado, nutrition in the modern era, it will be the name of this video. And so, the esoteric component of nutrition, you could look at it, you could take the root of that word, which is nut, nux, light. Nux means light in Latin. And again, this is the esoteric concept. I learned this from Don Tolman, the whole food cowboy. And I like it because the Certified Health Nut, my brand, ultimately has the nut in it, and it ultimately boils down to light, which is biophotonic energy. And so we are energy beings. And so the closed organic cycle is very simple. This is an aspect in biology that is not going away anytime soon, in my opinion. We may evolve into pure light beings, but for right now, the closed organic cycle works like this. Energy from the sun is converted through plants, through photosynthesis, to energy. And so known as chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is known as plant blood, and chlorophyll has the same exact molecular match to your human blood or hemoglobin. So chlorophyll and hemoglobin have an exact molecular match. And so, so the herbivores eat the plants, and then the omnivores eat the plants and the herbivores. And then everyone dies and goes back into the soil and feeds the microbes in the soil. And the microbes break down the minerals from the rocks, which the plants uptake through either the microbes. Basically the plants are very carnivorous. And so this is the closed organic cycle. You can, as a human being, get energy from the sun, but it's important that you acclimate yourself to the sun. You can get nutrition, is what I meant to say, nutrition from the sun directly through your skin. And so I do this. I've been doing that for many, many years. I'm a huge advocate of the sun. I don't wear sunscreen. I believe that sunscreen and sunglasses, in my research, is where the cancer is coming from. Again, that's my opinion. That's my research that I've done. And then at almost 52 years old, I've been getting copious amounts of sun ever since I learned this from my Italian friends who also used to get copious amounts of sun and had a very nutritious Mediterranean diet. And it just made sense. This was about 20 years ago living in Miami when all the hype about skin cancer and sunscreen came up. And I presented that to my Italian friends, and they made some common sense observations. And then since then, I've researched it. When the body is flooded with nutrients, antioxidants, minerals, and vitamins, and you don't have your sunglasses on, your body emits a hormone for your melanin, for your body to protect it against UVA and UVB damage. There's also information that comes in through these ultraviolet through the light spectrum that turn on your hormones and other internal mechanisms that naturally protect you against the environment. And so, so again, greens are the engine. This is the closed organic life cycle, and it's not really going away anytime ever. Although we've changed it, as I'll show you later, in the industrial age for business purposes. So if you were just going to simplify everything in nutrition, I would say just eat real food. This is the hashtag JERF. Sean Croxton of Underground Wellness coined that phrase, just eat real food. Now we have to define what real food is. In this day and age, real food is defined, I like to say, farmer direct. If you can hunt and fish your own wild food, that's doable. If you can forage your own wild food, that's doable, and or pay a company that is going to do that for you. Wild is going to be the top of the food chain, and then from there below will be biodynamic farming, which was invented by Rudolf Steiner. He was a living master. He created the Waldorf school system, and biodynamic really just works with the energy of the celestial body, the minerals in the rocks and the soil, and you plant at certain cycles and crop rotation. Fallowing and composting is a critical component of biodynamic. A lot of the organic certifications only require there's no spraying or chemical synthetics used on the farm. It really depends on the certification. I'll get into that in a minute as well. And so, but biodynamic is the highest form of organics. And so it's all about getting the soil at a very high level, getting the microorganisms at a very high level. So wild, then biodynamic, and biodynamic, the governing body of biodynamic is Demeter. That's the certification body of biodynamic. So if you can get Demeter or biodynamic, foods, wines, definitely purchase it. Or if you can find a farmer that tells you that that's the way they grow. Your farmers are very honest people, and if they're not growing with chemical pesticides and herbicides, you can have a conversation with them, and they're very open about it. And so if they don't have the certification, just have a conversation. This is how you can source your food directly. And this is what I recommend, having a relationship with your farmer, having a relationship with your food. So the next down from biodynamic is organic. Now organic, you've got many different certification bodies. You've got Oregon Tilth, Quality Assurance. There's some lower grades, some higher grades. But Oregon Tilth and Quality Assurance are some of the highest levels of organics. And then you have USDA. And again, USDA kind of lowered the standards of what organic was termed. It used to be 7 years without pesticides or commercial fertilizers, toxic compounds, etc. And I think they lowered the standards to about 3 years, and it's just basically no pesticides. So organic is the stamp you're looking for. You want to be eating an organic diet if you want to be healthy. And you're not necessarily a genetic anomaly. There are people that can eat commercial food and they can survive without getting degenerative diseases. So, but that's what they call an anomaly. Later on, we'll look at the statistics that we're dealing with in the United States. But for the most part, if you want to be healthy, just eat real food. If you want to know about nutrition, just eat real food, farmer direct, wild, biodynamic, or organic whenever you can, and you will be healthy. And you can eat whatever you want. And that doesn't mean a bunch of organic stuff that's in a package. That means basically pasture-raised, grass-fed, farmer direct vegetables, some fruits and high quality protein, wild fish, grass-fed ruminants, etc., etc. This is the way we've eaten for thousands and thousands of years of development in our digestive tract. And so if you want to eat more of a plant-based diet, go for that as well. But ultimately, you're looking at vegetables and high quality proteins. That's the basic, highest quality of nutrition that you possibly can eat. So just eat real food. Below the USDA organic is the commercial, which is sprayed with pesticides and herbicides. And we're going to get into that in a minute. And so the essence of pesticides and herbicides is to knock out the endocrine system, the reproductive system, and the nervous system, and the immune system, rendering the plant defenseless against microbes and or just basically knocking its systems out so it dies. And so that's herbicides and pesticides. And that is for weeds as well as pests. But do we draw the boundary at mosquitoes or larvae? No, because we're also looking at the bee colony collapse right now. We're looking at other flora and fauna that it annihilates around farmland. This goes into the water, this goes into the soil, and it goes into the air. And so I believe that there's a price to pay. We'll get into that in a few minutes with the health statistics. I believe that we are paying that price right now. So Hippocrates was the father of modern day medicine. He simply said, "Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food." So you have to take the Hippocratic Oath when you study nutrition. However, they only spend about 2 days to 2 weeks on nutrition in med school. So it's what do they call it? Ironic or oxymoronic that the father of modern day medicine said, "Let thy food be thy medicine," but they don't study nutrition. That's funny in my book, but look it up. And so we covered the closed organic cycle. So next I'd like to cover basically at the cellular level, you're looking at cleansing, nourishing, and balancing. So if you study like I have with the top people, whether that's indigenous cultures or whether that's people like Ann Wigmore, Dr. Jethro Kloss, Paul Chek, people that really know about nutrition at the cellular level, you're basically looking at taking in materials that are going to naturally cleanse the system as well as nourish it, and the balance of the two. And so we used to have this built into our culture. When we missed the hunt, we would eat less, or we'd have more greens, roots, barks, berries, the things that we could gather naturally, and it would naturally cleanse the system. And so cleanse, nourish, and balance at the cellular level, depending on what you feed yourself, creates the environment, which is the study of epigenetics. So it's not so much what your genes do, it's the expression they have by the environment that you feed, by the environment that you create for your genes to express itself. And so the cytoplasm is the environment, and the cytoplasm is made up of the materials that you're feeding it. So if you're using foods that are grown with toxic compounds, then it's going to be affecting you at the cellular level. Long term. And so we're starting to see it in the health statistics, which I will get to in a second. But again, at the cellular level for nutrition, we're dealing with things that naturally cleanse the body, naturally nutrify the body, and then you're balancing them out. I've been into fasting for many years, and I do believe it's an incredible tool. For me, you have to decide what's right for you, and ultimately I teach my clients how to eat intuitively, when to back off of foods, when to have more, and that's a natural inclination that comes from inside. And so the holistic component of nutrition is water and minerals. These are the things that actually turn on your genes so that your genes replicate properly. And so if you're putting in inputs into the body, because this is information at the molecular level, at the energetic level, again, remember, we're looking at nutrition comes from the word light, and biophotonics or biophotons are energy that come from the sun, and then through the closed organic cycle, they're built into plants through chlorophyll. and then the animals eat the plants, and then we eat the plants or the animals. And so this is nutrition. So when you're looking at the holistic component of nutrition, at the ultimate level, your body has to be able to break down, metabolize these materials and make them available in your blood as water and minerals to turn on your genes. So have your genes replicate. And you can see this in some of the longevity masters in the Far East, as well as the centurions, the blue areas in the world. Vilcabamba, Ecuador, the Valley of Longevity, etc. They have high quality water, high quality nutrition is at the cornerstone of these longevity communities. And so again, the water and minerals is what's going to turn on and replicate your genes. So you want the highest quality that you can source in this world today. It's my humble opinion. That's my big advice on nutrition. And so let's get into what's affecting humans and what's affecting our health on a huge level. So in the last 100+ years, industry has changed everything. I don't like to label anything bad or good. It's just kind of the way it is. Capitalism has exploded. Shipping, receiving, all these things that used to take a long time, like Marco Polo, it would take 17 years for him to return, now gets done in a couple of weeks to ship goods and services around the world. And so what's been created out of industry has been, commerce, travel, etc. And some of the bomb-making companies, the war profiteers, have been extremely profitable. And one of them was a chemical company that started out in 1901 and is now masquerading as an agribusiness company, and it's manufacturing products like DDT, which was banned in the 50s, Agent Orange, which was used in the Vietnam War as an herbicide to burn down the jungle, and also dioxins. And these materials have been found in women's breast milk, newborn fetal tissue, and so these things are stored in the human body, and what happens is it's a bioaccumulation, and everyone's genetic expression is different. However, what are our statistics right now? We've got we're first in cancer in the United States. I think it's 1 in 2 right now will get cancer, and so we have to look at we have to look at our results. My mentor used to say, results don't lie. So we've got very high incidence of cancer right now, and there's an ancient saying that says, "You are what you eat," and that's an axiom, I believe, that's not going to go away anytime ever. You are what you eat, you are what you absorb as well. And so what the chemicals, these neoinsecticides, these pesticides are doing, again, is they are taking out the immune system, they are taking out the endocrine system and the nervous system of these pests. That's what they're designed to do. So low-level exposure, long-term low-level exposure, what does it do to humans? Well, I think that the long-term human feeding study is happening currently in our statistics and in the world today. And so, and it's affecting the gut microbiome. It's taking its toll on the gut microbiome. So the pesticides and the herbicides are killing the microorganisms, the actual little animals that live in the soil. It's affecting them. And so as above, so below is the natural law of correspondence. So what we do to the earth, we also do to ourselves. And it's been said esoterically that we carry our soil in our gut. And so the microbes, the microorganisms in our gut, so it's been said that 90% of you is not even you. They're foreign organisms. The mitochondria, the ATP, the energy centers of your cells are actually foreign entities. And so the reason they've been able to get glyphosate, which is our #1 herbicide right now, onto the market is because it annihilates the schematic pathway of plants, of herbs, of basically weeds or pests in the farming community. And so the argument is, hey, we've got the science. Humans don't have a schematic pathway, so it doesn't affect the human. Okay, well, arguably that's fine, but humans have microbes inside of them, and microbes have a schematic pathway. And so what's happening is the amount of phone calls that I get and the amount of communications that I get from my online brand, Certified Health Nut, is, hey, I've got gut issues. I've got this big pot belly I can't get rid of. Especially men, they get this little belly thing, this pregnant belly thing, and it won't go away. It's hard. And so what my question is to you guys out there, what is that? What's living inside of there? And so if you don't have beneficial gut microbiome, what happens is you get dysbiosis. We have 85% good bacteria, 15% bad bacteria is the natural balance of a healthy gut microbiome. And the scientists are now calling this the second brain, or your gut instincts, or your intuition, right? We've got the vagus nerve and brain ganglia that goes into our gut. And so we're naturally intuitive. We know as primal animals out there, what's good for us and what's not. But that's been subjugated for scientific proof, advertising and marketing on television for all this stuff that we're now eating. And it's now affecting us. Our health statistics are United States spends the most money on healthcare, yet we are first in cancer, first in obesity, 60th in life expectancy, 33% people have diabetes. Autism's up from 1 in 10,000 in the early 1900s to now 1 in 17, and it's lowering. We've got 70% obesity. When I started my online brand, it was about 62%. That is, you're looking at about 8% in around 10 years or so. That's exponential growth. 70% is close to 100%. So if I don't put my foot down and start making a difference, who's going to change this world ultimately? It's going to be me, and it's got to be in symbiotic relationship. We have to have solutions that work for people. So just taking care of my bloodstream, again, the law of correspondence states, as above, so below. If I just take care of myself, then I'm also taking care of the world. Eating organic food is supporting organic farmers who don't use these nefarious chemicals that are causing, I believe, my research shows, all these health problems that we're dealing with right now. I think it's a direct correlation. What we put into the environment affects us as human beings. So glyphosate has been found in 75% of commercial food tested. This is a big deal. Cheerios, and I have a report I'm going to leave with you guys as well. I recommend everyone read it, because a lot of people are eating the Oreos, the Cheerios, the Cheetos, the things, these commercial, snack foods that are available, not even snack foods, breakfast cereals fed to children. Cheerios are one of the first things that mothers feed their children. We had this stuff tested, and the parts per billion are through the roof of what's daily allowable by the United States government. And so there's big stuff, and there's more stuff that's coming out every day. There's lawsuits in the EU. There's parliamentary hearings in the last couple of weeks that are going on. They're trying to ban this pesticide as they banned DDT in the 50s, right? And Rachel Carson wrote Silent Spring in 1962 that was based on DDT that still contaminates Chesapeake Bay and San Pedro in California. And so glyphosate is the DDT of today. It's the big tobacco of today. And so this was brought to us by the same company that brought us Agent Orange and dioxins. This is, Monsanto. And so, again, this isn't about to vilify or make anybody bad, but if you're looking to be healthy and have high levels of nutrition in your body, then you are definitely going to want to consider these factors. So some of the biotech talking points is that they are safe. According to who? According to, corporate research. Oh, really? All right, well, let's just do some rudimentary research. I mean, what is science anyways but observation, right? So let's observe. What are our results? Well, there's been no long-term human feeding study on these chemicals that are allowed into our food supply, on our farmland, in our waterways, etc. If they take out the microbiome or the schematic pathway of pesticides and of herbs and pests, right, of weeds and pests, then what does it do long level, low term exposure to humans on their endocrine system, on their nervous system, on their reproductive system? Well, male fertility is down, for example, and you've got autoimmune is through the roof, you've got cancer is through the roof, you've got skin rashes, weight gain, gluten sensitivities, bloating, gas, indigestion. Every other person has a gut issue when they call me with issues. We've got premature aging, and we've got degenerative diseases. Working in the Amazon rainforest, going far upriver, we didn't see the tribes people that had degenerative diseases. They had other issues, snake bite, trees falling on their head, but when it came to degenerative diseases, they didn't have them, right? So there's your control group right there. Again, this is my scientific observation, and so this is my opinion. But to me, it's like everybody wants all this science, but whose science? Is it done by the chemical companies that are manufacturing it? Or are they funding the science that's being done, that's found it out? Or are you just using common sense and your own intuition, your gut instincts, if you actually have a gut microbiome that's connected to your brain these days, right? So this is a big issue, you know? When the gut microbiome's gone, can you really think for yourself? If it's being overtaken by parasites and fungus, if you know anything about microbes, then those parasites and that fungus can get up into your brain. Anybody heard of the zombie apocalypse? We might be going through that right now, all because of this. So, but again, this is just my hypothesis. This is my theory. This is my observation. You know, just from you know, my own scientific point of view. So the biotech talking points that it's safe, according to who? According to them, right? They're bought and paid for science. But my research shows that here's our health statistics, and this is the food that people are eating, and 75% of it has this chemical on it. Could this be a correlation? I think so. The rise in diabetes is a direct correlate to the amount of glyphosate that is sprayed on our crops since the mid to late 90s. So it's also been said, hey, these things are going to lower pesticide use. You know, you won't have to use as much, but that's nonsense because Monsanto has been increasing profits since they've been using it, and they've been spraying more and more Roundup Ready and glyphosate on crops, on golf courses, you know, gardens, etc. You can buy this stuff at Home Depot. Very dangerous stuff. If anybody you know has a garden and they're using Roundup Ready, this is the smoking gun and can cause potential huge problems with them. Higher crop yields. This has been obliterated. There's been research done by the American military on the nutritional value and the yields of organic farming in Asia. The British Soil Association also has research on this. These are just talking points coming out of a corporation that wants to increase its bottom line and sell their products. Not bad or good, but hey, the cat's out of the bag right now. You want to be healthy? Then you might want to put some natural foods in your body and put in foods in your body that's also going to clear out the body's natural ability to detoxify itself. Because the body does detoxify itself if it has the proper environment, if it has the proper nutrition. So, and also, you know, when it comes to biotech, when it comes to GMOs, which is glyphosate's the #1 herbicide that gets sprayed on GMOs, that it's the same as traditional plant breeding. Hogwash. You're trying to tell me, you know, thousands of years of ecological development is the same as splicing viruses and bacteria into a plant genome? I mean, excuse me, but that just doesn't sound natural whatsoever. Laboratory made seeds and genetics doesn't seem natural and to me whatsoever. And so, and again, that's just common sense observation. You know, I'm just a healthy guy. You know, who am I? I've got a flat stomach. I've got my brain intact. I eat natural food. There's my laboratory science, right? And I'm sharing with you guys what my laboratory science is. So, and again, there's EU lawsuits. They're trying to ban this right now. This was all going down last week. In October 4th, the New York Times released a report with the lawsuits that are coming out in Europe. Robert Kennedy Jr. Has over 1,000 lawsuits against Monsanto, I do believe, and glyphosate for cancer-related issues. He uncovered a lot of internal documents that have been released. I'm working with on a project right now that will expose all this information. I'm working on a documentary that will expose all this documentation. There's also US lawsuits. So again, guys, a recap. Well, ultimately, let's get to the solutions. I think if you want to recap, review the video from the beginning. So, food as medicine. Let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. That's an axiom, I think, that is beautiful by the father of modern day medicine. So the solutions: eat organic food. I think there's been like a 90% reduction in glyphosate in the human tissues from people that switch over to organic food, right? Then fulvic acid, and I actually have a supplement on the line that I work with. You can write me about that. Fulvic acid helps to get the glyphosate out of the tissues. We also have a new product called Biome that works to get the glyphosate out of the tissues. We have new clinical trials that have just come out, and the research shows it reduces the glyphosate in the body by 75%. It's basically called a super probiotic. We just put it on the market last month, and people are getting great results. And again, we've got these clinical trials that have been going on since summer. So fulvic acid, the Biome Medic, avoid sugar because the glyphosate is also being sprayed on sugarcane. It's a desiccant, so it breaks up the material so the tractor doesn't have to. There's 3 patents on glyphosate. So, avoid sugar because sugar feeds microbes as well. And there's genetically modified crops, the beet sugars and corn, and high fructose corn syrup is a lot of the sugar sweeteners that they're using in today's food. So just kind of avoid sugar, or if you're going to use anything that has sugar, make sure it's organic. Organic trumps everything. Cleanse and detox. The body needs to cleanse itself, and if it's constantly dealing with a barrage of bioaccumulation of environmental toxins as well as food toxins, it may be a good idea to allow the body to heal itself. And fasting, cleanse and detoxification is one of the best ways. I've got a 10-day cleanse. Many of my followers and clients have done it over the years. We've got over 100,000 people have done it so far. It's organic, it's highly effective at cleaning out the tissues, the liver, the kidneys, the organs, allowing the hormones to rebalance themselves. Eat foods that support the body's natural ability to heal. Greens are natural detoxifiers. Green foods, wheatgrass, spirulina, kale, lettuce, spinach, etc. Juicing also has the ability to flush the body out of these types of materials. It gives the body nutrition for it to be strong and do its own job, and it also has natural detoxifiers, chelators like superoxide dismutase, which allows the cells to replicate properly instead of mutating. And so, I like to say, use the common sense approach. If we're eating gene-spliced mutated foods and 70% of the American people are obese or overweight, and you've seen those people that are driving in those little carts that can't walk and they're morbidly obese, that says to me that is a mutant. And we've got a lot of them in this country, and lo and behold, GMOs aren't labeled in this country, and they're eating foods that are killing their microbiome and that aren't real foods, and it's accumulating in their tissues, and it's basically turning them into mutants. Eating mutated foods is turning them into mutants. Again, this is my scientific observation. The laboratory is the human feeding study that's going on right now, our current health statistics, how it's affecting the gut microbiome, how the closed organic cycle is not changing anytime ever. Again, thanks for listening to my theories, certified health nut, theory, observation, To me, it's about simplicity. It's about natural ability. The body automatically heals itself if it has the proper nutrition and the environment. I hope this served you guys well. Please feel free to communicate with me if you guys need any help with your own nutrition or detoxifying the body. Don't hesitate to send me a message, and I will leave the report on glyphosate on your plate in the description box as well. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Much love.